Hello, everybody. This is the Earflaps podcast, the podcast where we tear apart our favorite movies for educational purposes. With us today, we have myself, Annie, and
Lizzie,
and
Rachel,
and
Max.
And over in the corner, we have Josiah running sound for us.
Yo. Today's movie is Frozen. It came out in 2013, starring Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Josh Gad, Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other people that no one knows about.
except for people who watch Glee.
When I say no one, I mean the 5 people in the room. Frozen was a very small indie movie done by this small studio called Disney. It was directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. Jennifer Lee, this was her first feature. She also co-wrote it.
A small indie film.
Yeah, small indie film by a small studio called Disney.
and it only did mildly well in the box office.
I mean, I think it made its budget back. Pretty sure.
When Frozen came out, I was excited about it because Tangled had been so good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, and then some of our friends went to see it, and I remember hearing back from them, "It's better than Tangled. It's better than Tangled." So I was really excited to see it. We didn't go see it in the theater.
That was me. I was one of those people that said it was better. Could have been better than Tangled.
No.
No, but that's because I was just running on a high off of that end sequence that's so cool and epic and cinematic. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like,
to go see it. I heard
this
from
is a
some
bad
people who
movie.
went to see it on opening night.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
they were like,
it's better than Tangled.
Tangled.
And then more and more stuff came out about it, about like they would release clips from it and like other reviews about it, and more. I was like are you sure?
Yeah. So, I mean, as Annie said in the intro, we break down our favorite films. I don't think we're going to call this one our favorite film.
I think I would watch it again. I think
Really?
it's fun.
Okay.
I think
yeah,
despite its problems.
it's an enjoyable watch.
And because I don't mind Let It Go, I wouldn't mind, my kids watching it or something like that. It's,
Right.
I don't mind having this music in my house and around.
Oh, I do. I was tired of Let It Go before we watched the movie.
That was
Because that was my
Well-
fault because I was
Yeah.
playing it around the
Yeah.
house.
It was all your fault.
You didn't watch it in theater. You waited until it came out on DVD.
Yeah. But I had heard the song so many times, and all of my piano students and voice students wanted to do something from Frozen. So not only did I hear the music, I heard it, being worked on by someone who's learning to play the piano.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
I think that as we're watching the movie, we're going to try and focus on how they could have fixed it. Not just on what's wrong with it, but also on how they could have fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
because
it does have its issues.
I think we all have major problems with it, which we'll get into.
So we're just gonna start watching it from the beginning, and Max will cue you off. Spoiler alert: we're assuming that if you're listening to this, you've already seen the movie, and you won't be surprised by anything that we say, because we're gonna be talking about some of the plot elements before they come up.
And we're starting the movie right when the beginning of the Disney logo fades in, which is basically just a sky with a bunch of stars and clouds. And the Lion King soundtrack is playing. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, play.
So I was really off-put by the music in this part once we get into the movie because the first time
Sounds like the Lion King.
Actually, the first thought I had was, I thought we were watching Frozen, not Moana.
Yeah, actually.
Well, the first time we watched it, we watched it a lot later after it came out, so we'd already heard a bunch about it, and I'd already heard like most of the songs from it because I do that. I go and listen to songs from movies I haven't seen, but so I heard this and I'm like, this sounds nothing like any of the rest of the songs that I've heard. And I really loved the tone of it, but it was like, this feels like it's not gonna fit.
Yeah, I really like the the choir of the music, though.
Well, they do go back to it. They have a choir during the coronation
Yeah.
scene. They have
Well,
a
actually-
similar sound because they have like the choir up in the balcony.
Right.
They actually bring it back in the very end as well.
Oh, really?
Right.
When Anna's walking over the frozen lake, they bring it back just slightly, and I was like, hey.
Yeah, there's a few moments where they bring it back, but it's like the better version of this. Because there's like two levels. There's choir, and then there's a part that sounds like Lion King. And I don't know enough about music to differentiate the two, but there's like
a chant kind of a thing.
yeah.
That's what sounds weird. And then there's like all these like ethereal. You know,
I love
like,
this shot. by
Nice
the
That's
way.
cool.
specular map.
Oh, the light is pretty. Okay, and this song too.
It does not fit with the rest of the movie.
I know.
It's the best one though.
I know. And like it really sets a darker tone.
Well, it more sets the tone of the world for me. You know,
Yeah.
like the Scandinavian and
Yeah.
how the people think, but it did not set up Elsa and Anna's
Anna.
world,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
didn't like.
This is much more of a musical world. Like I want to see this world more.
Well, it's like it
Well,
seems
this is to set up.
Kristoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is setting up Kristoff's world, but he's not the main character, so why are we seeing his world first?
But I like that they set off that he likes to eat carrots with his dog.
Reindeer.
It's a dog.
I know, I have that problem. He does not act like a
Well,
reindeer.
here they're also setting up the ice, like in that last scene where all the ice was poking up.
But like the ice has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, well, it does. They're singing about Elsa.
Yeah, they're singing. They're setting up how dangerous the ice can be, and so
I suppose.
they-
I never thought about that way.
they're setting up how dangerous Elsa's powers could get, kind of.
It felt more like they were setting up, look at all these people who are used to dealing with
ice.
ice and cold weather.
Yeah, but if you listen to the words, they're talking about like love and frozen heart and,
Yeah.
and
Did they
all these
really
things
just
that come
leave
back.
the little 5-year-old
Yes, they
alone by the frozen lake? Oh, the Northern Lights are pretty.
When I see that scene, I can only think about the honest trailer version of the song, which is just them chanting, "We are cutting ice."
Oh man, little Anna is so cute. It's so cute. And why would they put a big window in the room where they're trying to sleep?
Because it's cinematic.
Yeah.
It's so bright. I would never be able
People
to sleep.
in movies, people sleep with way more light than they do in real life.
So I really, really like this introduction of Elsa and Anna.
Yeah.
Like you really
Yeah.
get Anna's character right away here.
Well, you get Elsa's too. That she's.
Well,
not as.
That's one of the issues I have with Frozen is that I don't feel like I ever really get a good grasp on Elsa's character. I mean, she's here as a little girl. This is before whatever happened with the trolls. We're really not sure. But she really changed afterwards when she became afraid and was isolated all the time. So here we see her probably as she actually is, her real character. But she's really changed by the time she grows up. And then she changes again when she runs away. And then she changes again. And so I never really feel like we get a grasp on Elsa, which is probably one of the biggest problems with the film, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
Really captured little kids here.
I don't think I've ever hugged a snowman.
That sounds so cool.
I know, why isn't she soaked?
Yeah.
Because it's Disney magic.
This scene does a really good job of doing their relationship as well as kind of setting up Elsa's powers a little bit, but then the danger.
Okay, I do not like that moment there.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Because it's, well, yeah, it's accidental is my problem. And it's more that it was Anna's fault more than it was Elsa's. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Anna
Oh,
was
yeah.
racing ahead and being reckless, and Elsa accidentally struck her. And
And then here they're like, "What have you done?"
because
It's like,
the point of this scene is to set up how dangerous Elsa is, but it doesn't work because it was Anna's fault. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
anything that Elsa was doing.
Yeah.
Oh, and this silly thing.
And then
I know
dwarven
where we
rooms.
have to go. And where the heck are all the other people in the palace?
Yeah. Why is it the king and the queen going?
Like, do they have no guards?
Yeah.
Like, people just let the king and queen race off into the night.
So
Yeah.
those ice people that were cutting all the ice,
Uh-huh.
they don't. Do they even know who the kid is? Because the trolls raised the kid.
Yeah. It's like, who the heck?
Yeah.
Kristoff. Where did he come from?
Right.
We still don't know. Oh, the trolls.
I can't decide. The trolls feel like they don't fit in this movie. Like they're integral
Right.
to
Why
the
they're here.
story, but
I know why they're here.
okay.
Why?
Okay, so the Frozen is loosely based off of a fairy tale called The Snow Queen. And there are trolls in The Snow Queen, but they're the villains of. Well, The Snow Queen is a very wandering, meandering tale that not everything's connected very well. So the trolls are like the villains at the beginning, and then they never come back.
Yeah.
They're the ones who kind of create the mirror. You guys know the
So-
fairy tale?
I do. I mean, I was reading the same article.
This part is actually kind of creepy. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're like,
It makes no sense.
Or real time Photoshop.
I know.
Okay, but how does that heal
He's-
her? Did he said he was taking away all the magic and the memories of magic. Does he mean he was removing Elsa's magic from her mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Why did he remove the memories of magic? We don't know.
No.
Because story.
Well, if you watched in that we were watching a video about the behind the scenes, and they talked so much about like how did she get her powers and all that, and it just got more confusing. So they decided to like not explain anything, just say that she has powers.
Mm-hmm.
And she was born with it.
Yeah.
So they kind of.
They realized that explaining her power messed up the film too much, and so they decided not to.
Oh, I kind of feel like they cut it out too much. I agree with not explaining it, like
Mm-hmm.
doing that, but they didn't explain enough to where. To me, when you don't explain something enough, it leaves the audience with multiple, guesses on what's actually going on. The problem is when it's a crucial plot element, you shouldn't have your audience guessing on what's going on, you know?
Mhm.
Oh, I
because-
love this moment from behind. The animation for this song in particular is so
Yeah.
cute. I really love
Little Anna.
Anna's expressions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look
Okay, I have major issues here, too. It's like the first 30 minutes of this movie just don't work, and so the rest of it could have worked, but it's based on this.
But this is the part of the movie that's good.
Well, I agree. I love this song, and it's so cute. But where the heck are the rest of the people? They fluctuate back and forth between Elsa and Anna were all alone in the palace, and they never saw each other, to they have all these servants to do things and guards to
Yeah.
hold the gates closed, and they keep fluctuating back and forth in a way that doesn't make any sense. You know?
Well, it kind of does if the king and queen just isolated them and minimized the staff. Like, they said that.
Well, they
Yeah.
said minimize the staff, but a lot of the lyrics in this song is Anna saying, and later in the other song is like, wow, I'm going to meet real people. You know?
Yeah.
Well, you met people. They're in the palace with you, taking care of you.
And also, it in a little bit they show it goes like 3 years past or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as you see in the coronation scene, Anna and Elsa have had contact in all this time, but they don't really show it.
Yeah.
And I really want to see more of that. Like, I mean, even just a few shots here and there that they did actually have some contact, but like Elsa was always like distant and getting back to her room and kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh.
Oh,
I
parents
really
died.
I like that moment.
Did you guys know the Disney theory about that?
Oh,
What-
yeah.
That they're
Tarzan's parents?
Tarzan's parents.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
That they
right.
didn't actually die in that ship or the
Yeah.
when the ship drowned. Sank.
Yeah.
Ships
See,
don't
here-
drown.
Why isn't Elsa there?
Yeah, why isn't Elsa there?
Yeah, I want to at least see her there, and then she like rushes back to her room and shuts out Anna or something
I really
like
like this moment.
Yeah. You're just like,
Oh.
that.
Because the reason why it's weird is because they're not showing the parts that we need to understand Elsa's character. We're only seeing the parts that we need to understand Anna's character.
Right.
And so it doesn't make sense that the movie tells us later on that the movie is about Elsa.
And do you think that's a side effect of Elsa originally was going to be the villain in the story?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
originally she was going to be the villain until they saw the Let It Go song, and they thought it was so good that they decided to make her more of a good character.
Yeah, because it's not a villain song.
Right.
It's obviously a very sympathetic character.
Right.
3 years later.
But you can't have a sympathetic character that you didn't build as a character.
I know.
So she's just,
Yeah,
that's like my biggest problem with the movie.
I definitely feel like that's an issue. Like, I feel like the script needed a couple more go-throughs to catch some of this stuff. Like I was saying about the servants, something that really bothers me is also just the world.
I do love the exposition in this part. It was pretty well done, explaining what's going on. But yeah, continue.
Oh, there's Kristoff. I like Kristoff. What was I gonna say? Oh, that the world building in general is just really shaky because they don't set up how the Elsa's and Anna's lives were. Like I was saying,
These are the first other people that you see, except for the funeral.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but they don't set up like how the the monarchy works. The part where Anna just leaves Hans in charge. Hans doesn't have any connection to them at all. Like, why would she leave him in charge? I mean, I can see that she would want to, but that's not actually legal for her to do it. Like, there's
No, she was the next in line after Elsa.
Yeah, but
no, she left Hans in charge. Hans, even if she said that, there would be more people who would be in charge, like who runs the castle and who runs the guards, and it's like there's all these missing characters that should be there in running a kingdom.
But let's talk about her hair in this scene.
Okay, for the first time, a princess has realistic hair.
And well, like going back to the nobody's seen them, the two guys to set up this little payoff here where they were talking about, oh, I bet the princesses are beautiful means nobody has seen
Well,
them.
no, I was thinking about that. I think that they were from a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
The princess has
a lot
been
of
very
foreign
isolated
dignitaries.
with.
Hey, look, there's a servant.
Arendelle.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
know, but she's talking about how she's never seen people before
And she didn't even know the windows could open.
and have salad plates. Some of it makes sense, but
It
a lot
sounds
of
kind
it
of.
doesn't.
It sounds kind of weird, but I think she's just talking about people of her own
age.
Class.
Yeah, class and age. Like she's just been stuck in here with a few servants.
Well, then why didn't they show that?
But why didn't they take her out? Like, she could ask the guards to take her out walking. It's like there's a lot of it makes sense because it's a fairy tale, and if you were telling this as a fairy tale, it would be once upon a time there were two princesses who never left the castle gates because blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't actually support it because they have all of these servants here, and if you're gonna do a fairy tale, go full fairy tale. But it's like flip flopping in between fairy tale and realism.
Mm-hmm.
And I love a lot of the realism, like Anna, Kristoff, and Hans. I think are really great at seeming like real people. Well, Hans we'll get to, but Anna and Kristoff feel like real people.
Yeah.
They don't suffer from the Disney prince and princess syndrome. Think about Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, where they don't feel like people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really love this song.
Yeah.
For the first time in forever, and she's talking about all of her, or singing about all of her feelings and her. You just fall in love with her because she's such a klutz.
It also really sets up
that she's desperate to find someone.
Yeah, so it makes her meeting Hans work
really well.
Really well, at least on her side.
Have you ever been there? Somewhere between elated and gassy?
Yeah, I think so.
I do like the animation in this scene, especially.
It's so Anna was based off the character from the fairy tale, Gerda, who's the main character in the Snow Queen fairy tale. Because Elsa was originally the villain, so it was originally just going to be about Anna, and they weren't going to be sisters and all that sort of stuff. But I can really imagine how fun that would be if it was just Anna without Elsa, because Elsa's a
Party
problem.
pooper.
Yeah.
I really don't like I mean, I see what they're trying to do with the contrast in songs, but it's so heavy-handed.
I don't mind heavy-handed. It's a fairy tale.
I don't know. It just
It's
seemed.
like, where were all those servants?
I was a
And where are
little.
these guys.
And okay, so she walks out, and no one's ever seen her, and nobody pays any attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
know.
why are they carrying the cake in?
Because.
You know, it's just like, hello, does anyone notice the singing princess?
Yeah.
No, they're all interested in the queen.
But look at the difference between Anna and Elsa's costume design. Like, Anna's dress, you know, she's just got the little sleeves where, you know, hers is bright, bouncy. She's always twirling her skirt, whereas Elsa, you know, she's got the long sleeves. Her dress is very kind of heavy and doesn't bounce at all. And, you know, she wears that heavy cape. You can really tell the difference.
And
by the
horse.
Yep.
Suddenly a Disney horse.
You know, if you really did get hit by a horse that way, I don't think.
It would just be a light bump.
Yeah, no.
So something I really don't like in when they do double characters like Hans
Mm-hmm.
is like Hans didn't have enough foreshadowing. I don't feel like.
Well, I was actually watching it when we watched it last night in preparation for doing the podcast.
Yeah.
He doesn't have foreshadowing, but if you know that he's a double character like that, you can start to see where he is the mirror character. Because like Annie was saying, he's based off of the mirror, which, I don't know, maybe you can explain it better, Annie.
Yeah, so the fairy tale, the mirror's kind of disconnected from the whole fairy tale, so I'm not sure why it's in there. But the mirror was kind of, it represents not really sin, but kind of like your inner darkness or your inner selfishness. And the tale about the mirror is that these trolls created the mirror, and then they like to show it to people for fun, to play tricks on people. And then one day they carried it up to the sky and dropped it, and it shattered into a million pieces.
This is the moment where they show him like he shouldn't be doing that
Yeah.
right there.
Like, where's the evil smirk? But that would be foreshadowing too
Right.
much. All right, there's the choir.
The choir.
So the mirror shattered into a million tiny pieces, and it got blown through the wind, and it would get caught in people's eyes and hearts, and they became selfish. That's the idea of the mirror.
I think it was they'd only be able to see the bad in people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
So that's really, it has been confirmed that that's where inspiration for Hans's character came from.
Mm-hmm.
That he is this story's version of the mirror, that he always reflects whatever is his emotions, and what he's doing is always a reflection of what the other person in the conversation is doing. So you see that especially with Anna, that he just kind of adapts to how she is and latches onto her.
Yeah, and says, "Yeah, that's what I was thinking."
Yeah.
When that wasn't what he was thinking.
thinking.
But it's very subtle.
Why did she have to take her gloves off?
I know. I was just gonna say, like, why did that loss start?
Again, see, it's like world building. It feels like it's there, but it's not.
Right.
And so if they had cut out the "We Are Cutting Ice" song and put more into the world building a little bit, I feel like it would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
Another issue I think that Elsa's character has, or rather another thing related to that you don't really get her, is that she seems, in these beginning scenes, she seems so confined and stately. And I get that they did it on purpose, where she's controlling herself and she feels very, you know, like that walk there.
Mhm.
She's like, I am walking queenly because
And
I
then
am the
Anna.
queen. I like the contrast between their characters, but I wanted to see Elsa kind of lose that, you know, more, to where you could see that's not who she really is. And, you know what I mean? Like, do you feel like
I
you
mean,
get
you're
that?
supposed to feel a little bit of that right here.
Yeah, where she loosens up. Okay, have they never spoken to each other in the
Yeah.
whole
No,
3 years that
but
their
they
parents
have.
been dead? But then why is she acting like that? Like, hi, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I think
It
she's
doesn't make
just-
sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's
this
because
is
it's
what
the
a
only
party
time.
looks like? I mean, I get that they've never been to a party, but then later they know how to dance and sister moment right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
Where you can tell that Elsa's, I always get their names mixed up, but that they're loosening up and like remembering that they're sisters. Oh, and the Duke of Weaselton.
The Duke of Alan Tudyk.
I did not understand.
I like that they're
The toupee
sisters.
thing.
They're like,
I love the toupee.
I don't understand what was up with his weird dancing, why that was in there. I mean, it was amusing, but it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's
he's,
just
he's supposed to be like he's supposed to be the one you think is the villain. That's what I got. Was he was
no, I don't think so.
No, he's not the villain. He's the pawn, almost. I mean, he's not
but
really
they're
the
setting
pawn.
him
but
up as the villain.
yeah,
You know,
but they never set him up as a contender. You know,
Not
like
as a no.
somebody to be taken seriously. I think that's what this is.
Well, okay,
They're setting him up as a villain that
it's not to be taken seriously.
yeah,
Okay, I see
sprightly.
that.
and yeah.
I really like Anna's animation. She feels really human. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And you really
But
set
not
up,
Elsa's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you get the. That's what I mean. You can't get a handle on Elsa's character because she's never her real self here. You can tell that she's constrained, but you want to know what she's actually like. And I don't feel like her letting go was her either. You know.
Right.
Well, look at
And Han.
I actually don't mind Elsa's character here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like this is okay. You know, she's being constrained. She's in public. She's trying not to stress out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that makes sense to me. It's her later character.
Yeah, like
That-
that was the part with Hans.
I really, really like this sequence because, you know, like in Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, all they do is dance with the guy and then they're like, I'm madly in love. At least, I know they're playing on the trope, you meet a guy and you fall in love and stuff, but at least they're even doing that correctly, where they're talking and having fun and getting to know each other. At least some.
Mm-hmm.
And here's set up for Hans. They like talk.
Sympathetic moment for Hans.
Yeah.
Yep.
The second time around, I actually felt like Hans didn't hold up.
You mean in
I felt like it was too much. Like they never, like Max was saying, they never gave a hint. And so it's good the first time,
Yeah.
but the second time watching it, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
wait, there should
Especially-
have been a small amount of foreshadowing.
Yeah. I don't, and it doesn't make any sense what he does either. Like, what exactly is his plan? We're not sure, because we're never sure what's up with him.
I can't decide if I like this song or not. Like, it's a very catchy song, but I'm also like,
It doesn't fit the world.
I like it.
I mean, the sound of it and the instrumentation
Oh,
is
I
very
see.
modern,
Well, that's
which
true of
which
all
is a
the
problem.
songs.
I know, but I don't know. For this one,
This
I
one
don't
in
know.
particular, I wished it wasn't quite as poppy.
Mm.
But
Yeah, the guard didn't see them.
I was sitting here going like, oh, that looks like fun to do. Slide across the floor and go sit on a roof. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sandwiches. That's what I was gonna
finish
say.
each other's sandwiches. That's what I was gonna say. You know, there's a lot of moments in this song where if you kind of look at it from the other way, you can see that he's just telling her what
She wants to hear.
she wants
Yeah.
to hear, and she's telling him what she wants to hear. And he's really good at reflecting it back to her.
This part especially,
What are they
that
standing
looks more
on?
like a modern musical there.
And then they were doing the robot earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it was just me, but when I first saw the movie, I thought this was. I wasn't paying super attention to the environment, but I thought this was supposed to be a montage over like days. You know, like it typically is.
Yeah.
And then
Because
they
there
come
was-
back and said, I just met him an hour ago.
Because
did
there's
anyone
so many
else-
locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
different
thought
lighting
so,
setups.
yeah.
Was that like that one? That one feels like, I mean, I know it isn't, but it felt like daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back to the party. I thought it was meant to be a joke, but maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, me again? Why'd she say that? I never got that one.
There's a discrepancy there in their level of relationship. In fact, this whole scene has the wrong level of relationship for the rest of the film, because the rest of the film, Anna's like, she's my sister, she loves me, she wouldn't hurt me, and
but this is the only interaction we've seen between them, really.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking about the cinematography of this movie, it's not very exciting.
Well, it's a Disney movie.
Well, but Disney movies can have exciting cinematography.
Yeah, but it's okay, because this one's for kids, you know.
Yeah.
You can forgive it.
Not exciting.
Here I'm like, go Elsa.
It's really good at the landscape stuff, especially like at the ending and stuff like that. Like setting up the environment and where people are. That's good, but it's kind of blah.
Yeah. Just kind of like, and here's a shot, and we're going.
There's a moment later on in the ice castle where I was wanting it to be more handheld feeling.
You know, here's another part. Okay, so the frozen wasteland that's about to ensue. It's Anna's fault.
I
know. Again. Anna was being stupid.
But again, I guess
and impetuous.
Kind of it. You feel this one's a little more Elsa's fault because she's older. You know, because that's the whole thing, is that she shouldn't let, as queen especially, there's going to be a lot of things that she has to deal with that she doesn't like, or that make her afraid or scare her or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there is a kernel of truth that she does need to control it, and she does need to be able to react to things without overreacting. And I think it's different here because she's a lot older, you know? When she's a kid, she wasn't emotionally reacting to the one with when Anna's brain got hit. She was just trying to keep up, and she got a little scared. This one, she's emotionally reacting, which is different.
Yeah.
So it is. I feel like this one rests more on Elsa than Anna.
But at the same time, you know, like, it's their parents' fault for keeping her so, like, shut in and like, she's emotionally immature because she
never had to deal with
anybody or anything. And so she's definitely not ready for what's happening. And the troll told her something scary, and now it's coming true. That people would fear.
Oh, so many people point that out.
Would fear her. And it's like...
so many people point out that when he says that, he says, fear will be your greatest enemy. He shows her in a scary vision and then scares her. But saying fear is your enemy.
So it made her fear.
Yeah, I was like, wow. How's that a good plan?
This whole movie, she's supposed to
That shot here is one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, there she, like, stumbles a little. But, like, yeah, it's like, it's never, like, completely her fault. And so you're just like, everybody stop putting so much pressure on Elsa.
But you're also like, Elsa, grow up. You should learn to deal with pressure.
Right here. I love the sound design and the music in this scene.
I did like this.
It was.
Yeah, this whole part.
It's actually really kind of creepy and, like...
What do you guys think about Elsa's powers being so vague?
Oh, it's so horrible.
Again, do you think it suffers because they're not explained?
No, it's inconsistent about her controlling it.
Well, but she can't control it.
But she does.
At the end.
Especially at the end. And then especially at the very end of the movie, she instantly knows how to fix everything.
I'm going to get to that because I was thinking more about that. It's a very Disney fairy tale thing, but we'll get to it.
I don't know. It's almost like her powers are sort of intelligent on their own.
Kind of. Yeah.
Like, it protects her.
Like building the staircase and the
well,
castles. Like, did you study architecture or something that you know how to do
that one is okay.
Okay, here's the moment. She puts Hans in charge. And it's like, is nobody else there? He just arrived that day. Nobody else there knows him. Does nobody question this? Is nobody else in charge? Like, is there a, I don't know, captain of the guard or a prime minister or something?
And since Elsa was just coronated, who is ruling the country in their stead? Like, if she just came of age, they would have had a regent.
She would never.
They would have known.
And that would have been much more interesting for Hans as a character to come up against, because then he would like really be able to seem like the good like guy. Like he's trying to follow Anna's wishes, but this regent is getting in his way. Like I feel like that would have been a much better character than Mr. Weaseltown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
would make more
Wesselton.
Oh, and here's Let It Go.
Oh boy, it's so like the tone of it jumps so much when it goes into this and then da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I was really, you know,
Music
Indina
video.
Menzel is great, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't think she was right for this role. Her voice doesn't match the character
No.
at all. And I found myself listening to Indina Menzel and watching someone else.
Her singing voice doesn't match.
Yeah. No, I don't really like her talking voice
Really?
for Elsa
Elsa
either.
doesn't talk very much.
Yeah, she doesn't talk very much, but when she does, it's not how I would picture it. It's too, Indina Menzel is too mature sounding, I think.
Yeah.
And,
I see what you mean.
You know, she sounds either wise or rash, or
That's true.
you know, she played the Wicked Witch of the West, right?
Yeah.
In Wicked, and that, you know, that's kind of like her iconic role that I've heard her in, and so it feels really weird to have her voice be coming out of this girl who is
Supposed to be frightened.
and innocent, but you know, and like scared of herself, but powerful.
Yeah, I see what
And
you mean.
so it's just like it's the wrong tone for this, and I think that I would have liked this song so much more if someone else had been singing it.
Yeah, I'm
unfortunate.
kind of with you, but I love Indina Menzel's voice. She's such a power singer, you know. It's so fun to listen to her.
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I feel like I don't like it because to me she sounds kind of nasally a little bit.
Mhm.
I have a similar problem with Kristen Chenoweth.
Mhm. Well, they were both in the same boat, but
Also, it's like why
Okay,
wouldn't she just like
That
slip
there,
right off
That
of it?
is a complex mathematic, you know,
Yeah.
thinking to be able to arc a
And-
bridge at just the
Yeah,
right place that it would
yeah.
hold. And it's kind of like, did the
But it's-
ice know how to do that? Did she know how to do that?
Do that?
I do notice that her powers take a definite turn here. Like you were saying, her control seems to
Right.
not be consistent, but I think it's more character related than you're thinking. At the beginning, she doesn't have any control because she's so scared of it, and here she stops being scared of it, and she suddenly has a whole ton of more control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like one thing
I
didn't have a problem with what she's doing. I just don't like the song because it's not consistent with
I have a
anything
problem
else.
with what she's doing.
Well, yeah, because the architecture, number one, how does she know how to make that? And I can't quite tell, but the architecture, the way it's designed, is not exactly the same as the castle that she grew up in, and she wouldn't have had a chance to see any other kind of architecture. So it's like, how does she know how to make that?
But she mentions fractals in the song, so she should.
And her
Okay,
dress.
Okay,
and the
I'll go.
dress is the dress made out of ice?
I know
Oh,
because she
yeah.
goes into the castle and it doesn't melt.
Yeah,
No,
Awkward.
but she does other things. It's not just the dress. She gives Anna
And
skates
why?
later
And
on.
it doesn't have any sort of connection to the Scandinavian
yeah.
fashion that she knows. What's
yeah,
with the
it's
dress?
like, what the heck?
The slit up the legs.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, it's like
And all of a sudden, she's walking in a much more like.
sassy way. And like, yeah, her dress makes no sense.
I know why they put the castle in there. You know, in the fairy tale. In the fairy tale, the Snow Queen captures a boy named Kai, who is Gerda's best friend, and she sets out on this quest to find him and rescue him from the Snow Queen. And so, at the end, she goes to the Snow Queen's castle, and that's where like the end climax part takes place. And so the ice castle is like a huge part of the fairy tale, which I can see was right there, but it doesn't make any sense in this context. So there's like a lot of elements like that in Frozen where you can tell they originated from the original fairy tale, but they don't make any sense now with with Anna and Elsa being sisters.
I love that moment because it's a setup and it's one of the best setups in this movie.
Yeah.
That last one there.
And hypothermia. But what was I saying? It would have made much more sense, you know, if like there had already been a castle and they mentioned it. Like, you see Anna and Elsa go out to the castle in the mountains and spend time together there or something.
I love this part.
The frozen
like-
dress.
Cold.
You're just like,
Oh,
dear.
man. Yeah.
Hello. Big summer blowout.
If there were like a haunted, destroyed castle out there, and she built ice on top of it
Of
to
it.
finish
Right.
it, or
That would
something
be
like
even-
that,
oh, that
would
would've
be
been
so much
better.
cooler.
Yeah.
That way, Anna.
Something that they had built in, set up beforehand when they were kids, or something
The
like
problem
that.
with that is that Anna would have
The
known.
frozen dress.
How do they know what a sauna is?
It's a fairy tale.
I think it's funny that he's trying desperately to sell all the summer stuff.
I really like Anna's character. Like they really did well on her character.
Yeah.
Like every interaction she has, you can really tell. Like there, she didn't just say, "What are you crazy? No, I don't want summer stuff." She was like, "Oh, that's nice,
Nice.
but instead, could I have?"
Yeah.
Like every moment with her character is just really true to her character.
Those 2 bits of clothes seem like a lot less than what she puts on later on. Like
Oh,
there's
I-
a lot less, a lot more layers when she actually puts
I
it on.
love Kristoff's introduction because they immediately show that he's an ice guy. Just from his entrance, you can tell the difference between his life and hers because he's obviously used to being out in the snow. He's fine being frozen.
But he's mad about it because he just lost all his business,
yeah.
and you could tell that.
Huh. I didn't love his introduction, sorry. Because it was like,
It's a very great
But
show,
it-
but not tell.
it doesn't actually tell you
Introduction.
very much about his character, I thought.
It
What is
kinda
important to
does.
set up for his character at this point? That he doesn't really care about royalty. He's more interested in his ice business. So they set up those, but they didn't set up it very well, in my opinion. Like, they're kind of half and halving it because they want you to like him. They don't want him to come in all angry and, I don't know, huffy because they want you to like him. But, I don't know. He felt too mellow in this. To me, it would be a much better story if he came in angry and huffy and more than he is here, And then you get to like him, because then you would be with Anna. And there it felt like she was a little scared of him, but she didn't have a big reason to. Like, if he was more angry and intimidating and stuff, then you would be on the same page as Anna, is what I mean.
I don't have a problem with it just because it's not important.
But that's the point. It should be important.
Why?
It's the introduction of a major character. It should be important, and you should use that to say something about the character. And yes, they said some things, but I don't think they said enough. They could have done more with it.
I feel like that later on they set it up. I mean, they just in
This
their
sets up
interaction.
Hans so much better.
You mean Kristoff?
Yeah, that dude. I get their names mixed up.
Yeah.
Where he's saying what Sven says.
Yeah, like they're setting up his relationship with Sven, but you're also kind of like
But you get who he is. He just sits in barns and sings to
the
reindeer.
So-
and eats the same carrots, It's like, he's kind of dirty.
You get he's the farm boy, not quite, but and he has a really pretty voice.
I really like all of Anna and Kristoff's interactions. They feel
Real.
yeah.
Is that why you like
So-
Anna and Kristoff together more than you like Anna and Hans together?
Right here, she just tossed him a bag with a pickaxe in it.
Ouch.
See? There was an ice pick
It's a
in there.
little ice pick there.
Still, it's pointy.
We leave at dawn.
I
You
like.
got the carrots.
Whack.
Bam.
I like. It's so comedic, and then she's like, "I didn't mean to do that."
And then she's like, wait a minute, no, I'm in charge.
And I like this moment here.
I did it.
And then he's just like,
Ew.
Oh, gross.
Share carrots, that's gross.
But I love that it's consistent through the whole movie.
oh, this moment.
He's like, it's fresh lacquer, and then he spits on it, and she's like, ew.
What I think is funny that he says, "Were you raised in a barn?" And here he was in the scene before, just hanging
Sleeping
out in a
barn,
barn.
Yeah.
I also like that
through the
Anna's
whole-
telling him about her engagement, and he's like, "Wait, you got engaged?
Yeah.
Someone you just met that day?"
Yeah, he's stuck on that, even though she tries to move on. He's like stuck on it for this whole conversation.
Well, to him, it tells him that she's a little wacko.
Yeah.
In case he didn't already know, but
Yeah, she's talking about on his gloves and dirt, and he's like warned about strangers. And then she's like, "Yeah, they did."
Like right there was the first time you ever see Anna even noticing the gloves, that the gloves are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not even called up any other.
Like if we just had a glance of her at the coronation earlier,
or
like
even
looking at the
even in that
gloves and-
montage of them growing up, like
Yeah.
something more to set up what they're.
What if you don't like the way he picks his nose and eats it?
Oh man, do it.
Then she's like, "It's true love."
I think that you like Kristoff because
He's
he and Anna go through more where they have to trust
Right.
each other more, and so you do like Hans because he seems so princely and gentlemanly and all that sort of stuff, and Anna likes him, but you don't feel like they have the same connection that she and Kristoff do, which is why it works. Besides the fact that
Yeah.
Hans is a jerk, but
Well, it's because Kristoff is like just as slightly dorky and
As-
weird as she is.
yeah,
I really don't like the wolves because
yeah.
they don't do anything except
Like
destroy
if they
the.
came back later, it would work maybe in some
Well,
way.
they made
Yeah.
it.
was
They made
set
it
up for
harder for
something.
them to do what they were trying to do.
But that's it. Like, it destroyed the sled, which comes back.
Yeah.
But
But it
I don't know.
justifies why she needed help, you know?
Yeah.
Christopher! It's Kristoff!
But this scene is really interesting because it makes Anna defy the Disney princess stereotype. You know, she's not afraid of adventure or danger or anything.
Well, they did that with Tangled already.
I know they did.
But I like that they didn't make her. She still needs a lot of help, you know?
Yeah.
She really needed
She's-
his help.
Yeah, she really does need Kristoff. And you
Oh,
appreciate
man.
Kristoff because you're like,
And yeah, no way.
I never noticed it. There was a shot there.
What is he hanging on to?
Snow.
oh,
I love that part.
I like that they're treating.
What if that hit him in the head?
I know.
I like that they're treating his sled like a expensive car.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It's the one modern thing in the movie that I'm like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, just wait until you get to Olaf.
Never mind. We'll get to Olaf.
In just a little bit.
Like, how did the snow not get down his shirt and before when she was dragging him through it?
They're used to it.
And here we have a character choice moment.
I like that she just kind of like, yeah, he's going to be really mad at me. I'll just let him go.
Which would have been better if he had been way madder when he was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you like, there's no way he's leaving her to walk on her own.
Yeah, this whole
This whole-
conversation is kind of moot because you know he's gonna go with her because he's such
But
a
it
softie.
wouldn't be if he was a lot angrier and huffier when she met him.
Yeah.
Lax. And this shot, where are they going?
I know.
Up the
a
mountain.
hill.
Yeah.
There's no trees.
Ooh, all the landscape shots are pretty, you're right.
They look like Lord of the Rings.
I was watching behind the scenes where all the animators actually went to Montana, was
Yeah.
it? And they also went
No, they went to yeah.
and to Norway to study how snow works. And I saw
Deep
some
snow.
footage, how deep snow, how to walk in deep snow and what that looks like. And I saw footage, there was like all of the animators, like even the guys were in dresses.
Yeah,
walking
to
through
see
deep
how to walk in a
snow.
dress.
I think they did that really well. They really got, you never question the snow, you know?
Yeah.
You do question Sven.
Yeah, a little.
I agree. This part was a little too doggy.
I do
He
like
can't compare with Maximus. I'm sorry.
yeah. I do like how they gave the two sides of winter, you know, there's the harsh cold part,
Mm-hmm.
but then they also showed the beauty of it. And Olaf just walks in.
I like the yellow snow joke.
I really like Anna's reaction.
Just kick it.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the idea of Olaf. I really like Olaf
I know.
because they
He's-
did him really well. He's not too loud and brash for the what do you call it? Comic relief character. He's
Mhm.
not
Right.
too much. But I don't like the idea of him.
He doesn't fit the tone of the movie. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
I love the carrot though.
But he's but later on he becomes Anna's friend when she really needs a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he does fit in that way.
like a little baby unicorn.
Whoa.
I like his eyes there.
Yeah, he's such a Disney side character, but he's
Actually,
so funny.
I read a thing where he was actually based in a different
Oh right.
fairy tale by the same guy
Yeah,
called
like
The Snowman. Yeah.
About a snowman that falls in love with a furnace.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually a really funny setup.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really.
who's the funny looking donkey? That's Sven. And the reindeer? You're like, oh.
I do think the dialogue, it was really well written for this movie, except for the stuff between Elsa and Anna. All of that sucks.
Yeah.
Why
Um,
it sucks.
I
Well,
And
I love
Kristoff, Chris.
yeah,
Oh,
I found
hanging
myself
a
lantern right there.
What?
Huh? Kristoff goes, how does this even work? And he's like, I don't know. But they hang the lantern on the fact that it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense that he's alive or works at all.
Might want to explain what hanging a lantern is.
Oh, hanging a lantern is when there's something goofy or unexplainable in the film where the filmmaker actually points to it and has the characters pointed out
yeah.
as a way to say, yeah, we know this is dookie, yeah, we know this is kind of weird, but roll with it. We know, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just the fact that they acknowledge it helps the movie and helps you kind of suspend your will to disbelieve
Mm-hmm.
because you know that the movie is just doing their thing.
I like the idea of this song, but I don't like that it's so like he's wearing sunglasses and talking about tanning.
I think that this is the only song that does not move the plot forward.
Yeah, this
Other than a bit of a fixer upper.
That does,
That does.
some extent. Well, yeah, it doesn't do a very good
I
job
mean-
of it though.
No, but I like that this one sets up just him wanting summer and how ridiculous it is.
I think this number is really fun, but also it's a little bit like, okay, can we get back to this?
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't move the plot forward at all. It sets up Olaf's character really well, but it doesn't move the plot
I
forward.
love this moment
I
though. This
know.
is my favorite, one of my favorites.
And I'll be a
Happy Snowman! Oh
I
man.
love how they can make you think puddle without saying it. Like, it's just like, whoa.
I don't like this song. I mean, it's really clever and cute, but I
I think it feels like they just put it in for all the kids who are watching it.
Oh yeah, it's totally that.
I think it stems from, again, the snowman and wanting to set up that
Definitely.
the whole idea that he falls in love with the furnace, and that's kind of the same idea here.
that he's in love with summertime.
Yeah, and so it comes from that.
I don't mind it. I think it's fun. It's a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like that song way more than a bit of a fixer upper.
Oh yeah.
Like that song, I left to go to the bathroom.
Okay, here we have a Major Hans scene. And what was with the dudes fighting over the firewood?
I think it's just supposed to
That's actually
show that there's hardship.
there.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago in one of those countries, I'm not sure if it was Norway or something. There was a TV show that ran a 24-hour fire burning video, or was it fire stacking? And there was a whole big war about should you stack firewood wood side up or bark side up and all that.
Okay, I didn't know that was a joke.
Well, this scene is interesting because it's the same. What you were talking about, like if Wesselton had been a regent, it's like the same scene, but it doesn't work because
Wesselton has no authority.
Yeah. Like
If
Yeah.
okay, if we see the rest of the people So if it was like the regent and the captain of the guard with Hans against them trying to decide what to do, and then we see the people kind of gathering around Hans, it's like, yeah, we need to save the princess sort of thing. Like, you would like him so much more and really understand the threat that he poses, you know, later. But here it's like, he's already in charge. He doesn't even need to argue with these people.
Yeah. And they just set up a threat to Elsa.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a bleh threat. It's not very it's not very strong. I like this part.
I like
all the conversations.
ice pick to the nose.
Yeah. So you're not at all afraid of her. Why would I be? She's the nicest, gentlest, warmest person. I've been impaled.
See, I think
really
Olaf's
like that.
really, really well done.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of him in this movie.
This part of the movie feels like it was older, like an older part of the script that they really just left in, and it's so much better than it's like they had to make the beginning and the end fit around this.
This is the moment where you're like,
Where you're like, Elsa really needs help.
If
Anna, you mean?
Anna.
Yeah, that one.
This is when you start to realize that Kristoff, like, kind of.
He thinks he's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like the more bonding moment, and you like it.
If she has never left the castle, how does she have enough strength and stamina to be outside?
Well, didn't you see her running around, racing and flying down staircases?
Yeah, that explains it.
Again, this is kind of hanging a lantern
Yeah.
there with Olaf. He's like, so there's a staircase. Even though if they had just found the staircase, it'd feel like, well, that was convenient. But because it's pointed out that way, it works.
Yeah.
Oh, and this whole scene. Again, anything with Elsa and Anna, I think, just fails. It falls flat. It sucks. I'm sorry.
I like Kristoff in this kind of, because he's just like, ice.
I
It's
like that.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
I wish they hadn't spent so much time on Sven.
It's a kids movie.
But
They don't actually spend a lot of time.
No,
It just
but
has,
they
like,
needed
certain moments.
time with Elsa and Anna.
Oh,
I
right.
think this needed another go through. The script needed another go through where they concentrated just on Elsa and Anna's relationship and story. Like, I feel like Anna's really solid with Kristoff. Anna's really solid with Hans.
And the side characters are really solid with them.
Yeah, it's just Anna and Elsa,
Elsa.
that their story is disconnected. And like you're saying, I think that does stem from Elsa was going to be the villain for a long time. They only
Yeah.
decided to make them
I
sisters.
like that one. Last time I introduced her to a guy.
On the
she
last
was
draft.
They only decided to make them sisters after the Let It Go was written.
Mm-hmm.
And
that one
so
when they're counting.
it just it needed another go through to fix
Though-
this.
It was not targeted at us, though. It was targeted at kids.
That
But
doesn't mean it.
Tangled
And it
was
has-
targeted at kids. Tangled is so much better.
Tangled will make you
But
cry.
Tangled was trying to tell one story. This is trying to tell two different stories. Is the problem, I guess.
Oh, that's the problem.
It should be one
should
story
be one story.
about two sisters, and it's two stories about each sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsa's story really suffers because
She doesn't have any fun sidekicks.
well, not only does she not have any fun sidekicks, she doesn't
We don't get her.
she doesn't have enough story time to be interesting. And in the BTS they were saying that they wanted her to be multifaceted, and she's really not.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's
Because we
like they're
only
trying to make her
Well, she
multifaceted.
is. We only see one side of her, though. We actually see two sides of her, and it's unclear the connection between them. We see her being really scared, and we see her being really strong, but you don't see her conquering her fear by being strong. You know, it's like they're disconnected from each other.
Yeah, Olaf doesn't work because she created life and didn't even know it. Like, she didn't even know she made him.
Yeah, I'm like, why doesn't Elsa just tell her
It's one of those stupid things where normal people would have a conversation about this and not have so many misunderstandings.
Yeah, like why doesn't she say I hurt you once and I don't want to do it again? Yeah, it was like.
It's like the audience knows, but the characters don't know, and so the audience is left to be like,
hello, people, talk to each other. Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I forget that Anna doesn't know because they brought it up so many times in the story.
And it would be a lot better if Anna did discover it and she could help Elsa, think it through.
But then there wouldn't be any conflict.
Right.
But Anna is so optimistic, whereas Elsa is so fearful that I feel like that would be a really cool conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it ain't.
And
there.
that really would have justified the end, and made it more powerful.
I like how Elsa really is just like, she really doesn't want to hurt people. She wants to be free and be herself, but she really does care about people. Like, they did a good job of painting her not as a bad guy, but it's still, she's supposed to be a villain a little bit.
That is called musical cheating.
Yeah.
Deep, 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 deep snow. Where you gotta fill it up with the same word.
I actually didn't mind that one though, because it felt like just like.
I was like, it was too long.
Yeah.
It fit Anna's character, so they got away with it. But
I like this that Anna or Elsa didn't know that everything froze, and now she's all stressed about it. And so when she's stressed, there's a storm.
I feel like this would have worked much better if it wasn't a song, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it suffered because they were having to sing in rhyme.
And there's the mirror motif kind of thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was noticing that pretty much you see almost all of the main characters' reflection at some point, looking in a mirror, looking in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not Anna's. I think you see Elsa's and Hans. I can't remember if you ever see Anna's.
I'm trying to figure out where all the odd lighting is coming from.
It's being refracted.
And Kristoff.
But then sometimes it's very red, and then sometimes it's purple, and then it's a little bit inconsistent. So what's happening to the castle?
She is becoming very afraid again, and so her control and power is diminishing.
But no, I mean, what's actually... It's like it's melting.
Yeah,
But
it looks like it's melting.
that goes opposite what everything else is.
Okay, so this guy actually is from the fairy tale, the original fairy tale as well. I mean, he wasn't a rock monster.
Yeah, for those of you who
Guys
are
that
listening
know.
and not watching, it's the big snow monster guy.
I love that they just pan across
Marshmallow.
Sven with his tongue stuck to the stairs.
Feisty pants.
Yeah.
Calm down, feisty pants.
So, yeah, when Greta reaches the Snow Queen's castle, she is met with an army of snowflakes, snow snakes, and snow monsters that she has to get through, which she gets through by singing the Lord's Prayer, and her breath turns into angels. That's the fairy tale.
Okay.
Okay.
And did you know when she threw the snowball, Anna was left-handed?
Oh, I didn't notice.
Oh, I like that one where it's like, just show they're clumsy. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't like this snow monster.
me either.
It's
and
like
here's the payoff. Bam.
Bam.
I really like that one because it's like, it's subtle, but yeah.
Again, this sequence is really good.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, it's Anna and Kristoff. They're bonding. Like, they're taking care of each other. And so you feel like he's just way more protective of her than Hans is. Like, you like Hans because he's like honoring her wishes and being the nice guy, but Kristoff is actually taking care of her. And Olaf.
I like all of Olaf's jokes. They're funny.
Yeah.
They're not dumb like a lot of side characters' jokes are.
I think, though, one of my favorite of his is coming up. The skull part.
Oh,
I don't have
Have
a
a
skull. Like, the timing on that was perfect.
do you think Olaf's more funny if you're older?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like he's not as funny to little kids.
No. I mean, he's cute, and so he's really popular with the kids, but they actually wrote him really smart so that he wouldn't be extremely dumb.
He's almost like a VeggieTales character in his smartness.
Yeah. Or a Pixar character.
Like,
Yeah.
ow.
Okay, so the whole freezing the heart thing, we kind of skipped over that.
I did like that moment because they set up the freezing the heart, and you're like, oh no. And
Yeah, but
how
we've
did they
surgotten
survive-
about it for
How
all
did they
this time.
survive that?
I didn't really forget about it, I don't think. I just...
Well, the movie forgets about it.
Feel my leg.
I don't know. Something always struck me as really wrong with that scene between Anna and Elsa. Part of it is that they're singing.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think that scene would have been so much better, man. But part of it is again
Here, Kristoff.
they're just not talking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what the scene.
She went all that way to talk to her, and they didn't end up talking.
Yeah, maybe that's what the scene accomplishes. Unfortunately, that it feels like they're just talking at each other instead of to each other.
I don't have a skull. Or
That was
bones.
a weird insert. I'm sorry. That shot.
But it was
is
hilarious.
weird.
It's hilarious.
It's weird.
I thought it was funny. I like
No, the shot itself.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel totally disconnected
I
from
like
everything.
this conversation because it's Anna and Kristoff like trying to figure out what to do.
Because I feel like Anna's growth would be much better if like Elsa threw her out and then she's like, no, I'm not taking this anymore. You shut me out my whole entire life, and went back at her. You know, I feel like that would work so much better for Anna's character.
Does it look bad?
It wouldn't get the story to where it
you
needed to go, but
hesitated.
it would work.
I like that the fact that she was hit in the heart didn't like nothing really happened right away. Like they didn't think it was a big thing. Because, you know, Anna doesn't know about that.
It gives
And
her another challenge to overcome.
And it's a little bit of a ticking clock. Like the audience knows something's going to happen, so we're just waiting for it. And I don't know. So, okay, so why is this so red in here?
Because it's sunset.
And because it's reflecting her mood.
Yeah.
I don't like her conceal, don't feel. Like, her
I think
mantra.
I like it if they had used it more, you know?
Yeah.
Or if it was more like if she was huddled in a corner like, I'm scared. Don't feel, you know, it was a way to calm herself down.
But I don't like the
They don't
use
use it that way, though.
I feel like the conceal part is okay, but like the don't feel is so
Yeah.
vague and generic and unhelpful.
But it rhymes, Rachel. It rhymes.
I like that moment where she's like, I'm cold. Kristoff like went to like hold her, but then
and
he's
you
like,
hug
wait.
her, and there's like, that's awkward.
When they do this, when they go to the little spurts of gas, I'm just thinking about Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And here we get a little bit of Kristoff's backstory that doesn't answer any of the questions that
Nope.
we have.
Like he said, I think earlier he said, I've seen them do it before. It's like they never, like he saw them do it to Anna. You know, it's like.
yeah,
he
why didn't he kind of like
yeah.
get this?
Right.
Because he saw it all
I
happen.
know.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't they
I
bring that
did
back?
I think this setup was kind of cute where he's describing and you're expecting like a house full of bouncing people sort of thing, like a like a dwarf house sort of
Yeah.
thing.
And then rocks.
Okay, so why did they wait so long to?
Because
Show
they
up.
have dramatic timing, obviously.
But
Because they're trolls. Come on.
oh boy, so they're trolling
Uh-huh.
Anna.
I felt like this moment, yeah.
But then they just
Kinda
start
went on
rolling
too
down.
long.
And
I don't know. The trolls feel unexplained. The whole world feels unexplained.
Mhm.
They feel disconnected, and you're kind of like, why?
You know,
If there was like a troll kingdom and they like had alliances with the other people, or if they were thought of as enemies, like, don't go into the woods, the trolls might get you. You know, it felt like they needed a lot more setup. That
Yeah.
would have been good. And all of these random things. Your kidney stone, that was funny.
And then she's like, they're trolls.
how does she know what trolls are?
And they're like, he brought a girl. And you see his face like, uh-oh.
So
Does anybody else think of Joe versus Volcano this whole entire
Yeah.
scene?
I've never seen Joe versus the Volcano.
He's like face palming this whole time. It's
I like this scene and I don't. I
It-
think it's the first time it serves a purpose in that it's the first time that Anna thinks about Kristoff as someone
I'm trying
she
to
could
place
love.
it, but it feels like they should be in a different movie. Like it
Kinda,
feels
yeah.
like they should be in a Smurfs movie or something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I know the movie, but I don't.
They feel like the cartoonized version of the trolls from Princess and Curdie.
Kinda.
Kind of.
Oh,
I wish
actually-
they were a little bit.
Scarier?
Yeah.
Me too.
Do they feel like they would fit in a world like Tangled better than this? Like I don't know, something about it.
No.
They just don't fit in this world.
They would if you set them up, is what I feel like. And you made them a little scarier.
Yeah, they're so cartoonish looking.
Okay, this I think does move the plot forward more than Olaf's song because, like I said, it gets Anna thinking, but it also is like the first time that Kristoff admits that he likes her.
yeah. And it also shows that he, even though he's kind of embarrassed that they're all like listing off things that are wrong with him, but he's also like, guys, she's actually got a problem, a serious problem that we need to fix.
This part's actually scary.
But this moment is shown much better and more like heartfelt when he takes Anna back to the castle and they close the gate on him.
Which is dumb, by the way. He just saved her life with the princess and they closed the gate in his face. It doesn't make any sense.
Joe versus Volcano right there. This moment is this troll. She's talking about the love between Anna and Kristoff, but Anna is taking the what
Taking
she's-
it, yeah,
for
as her and Elsa.
Elsa, which I like because it gives her it gives her new thoughts about Elsa.
And why is there no snow here?
Because
Because
they're
Oh wait,
trolls.
because of the heat from the
And because they're magical. And so they're immune
Earth
from other
gas.
magical.
yeah.
We don't know what the heck is going on. Yeah. I don't know. This whole scene's weird.
Yeah. Trollfully with.
And dude's like, wait, what?
I don't know. It's weird.
And then suddenly everything gets dark.
It's like this movie was 2 or 3 different things and they couldn't quite decide what it was.
Yeah.
It's an adventure story. It's also kind of poking fun at the fall in love with the guy you've only known met for an hour thing. But it's also supposed to be a story about 2 sisters. It's I don't know. It doesn't end well on all of those notes, shall we say. It really only ends well on the sisters note, which feels wrong because that was the
least-
weakest
Yeah.
plot line in the whole movie.
That was a nice reminder. Her hair.
I wish it
getting
was more gradual. I mean, they kind
Yeah.
of can't be because it's a kids movie and it has to be obvious, but
Yeah.
it feels really.
Also, if it would be any more gradual, it'd be hard to see even.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
this moment, you're like, oh, Kristoff. Because they just set up that he likes her, and then he's like, okay, let's get you so you can
Well, the
go.
first time I was watching it, I wasn't thinking that so much. I was like, Kristoff's wow, he's a good guy. But then he says, let's go find Hans, and it cuts to Hans isn't there.
There.
How does
you
he
feel
how does he
bad
even know
'cause you don't-
Hans?
Because Anna's
Oh,
been
right.
talking about him
About
on and
him.
on. Okay, this whole scene, if you think about it in terms of Hans' character, makes absolutely no sense.
Why?
Well, he's playing the gallant prince still here,
Mhm.
obviously, but later on, his objective is to kill Elsa. His objective is to be the king, but again, because we're so unclear on how the monarchy works in this kingdom, can he be the king without one of the sisters? Like, wouldn't they be the queen and he be their consort or whatever? Like, could he actually become the king? He would actually have to marry one of them first, which is the whole point of he fake married Anna or whatever. But he wanted to kill Elsa because he knew he wasn't going to marry Elsa, and she was the queen. She needed to die at some point for him to be king. That's obvious, and there's no question, you know. So this whole scene is him playing the gallant prince, coming in, and he saves her. Why didn't he just let her die? There's the argument that he was still trying to trick Anna.
Right.
But Anna's not there.
Well, he doesn't know that.
And he's not the one who would have killed Elsa. You know, he could have let the guards shoot her and say, I just couldn't get there in time, and they shot her. And
well, he doesn't know where Anna is.
Right now he's assuming that she's a prisoner of
That was just kind of scary.
But still, he could let Elsa die if Anna's not there to see.
So right now she seems to be able to control her powers quite well. And quite precisely.
And with this guy, I'm like, dude, just hop over the railing and get on the other side of the balcony.
It's hard to hop when you're on ice.
They do well in this movie to make it feel like there's actual danger without killing anyone.
And do you see he looks up here? Like he's going to aim for the chandelier right before he goes for the crossbow? I don't know if... I wonder if that was intentional.
Like he shot the
right
chandelier
here.
on purpose?
Right here, and then up. He looks up.
Oh, so maybe he did try to kill her?
While
That's not clear.
looking like he was going to try and save her?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one's a bit...
You could...
it could be interpreted that way. Which is hard because it's animated, so it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, I thought this was an odd... I thought they should have cut back to Kristoff and Anna here, but there's not really anything they're doing except for writing. It felt weird that Hans could get back to the castle
before they did.
With Elsa as a prisoner before Anna and Kristoff got back.
Also...
Oh, reflection.
Also, she's wearing the same clothes. Like, I wish they had changed. Like, she was wearing something else.
Again, Hans is still playing the gallant prince, but why? Like, why did he didn't even have to come talk to her.
Well,
you know?
He's trying to figure out where Anna is.
Right. Well, she is still the queen.
But he didn't have to come talk to her.
Well, I also...
You know, he's putting on this big play. He obviously meant to get something out of this conversation, but he doesn't get anything out of the conversation.
Well, I think he's still trying to solve the larger problem, which is bring back Summer. And then he thinks he can marry Anna and everything will go back to his plan. And so I think right there he just realized that his plan needs to change.
Yeah, when she said that she couldn't do it, that's when he realized, well, if we kill her...
I wish they showed more of that, you know? I wish that... Yeah. They don't have to make him, like, smirk and scowl and stuff that's obvious, but that he's thinking and he's surprised by what's going on. It just looks like he's really sad and...
I do like the intensity in these scenes.
Oh, I like this part where they're like, meet you guys at the castle. Stay out of sight, Olaf. And he's like, I will. And the next thing you hear is, hello.
It's alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Olaf.
But I did feel like this had good intensity. Like, the ticking clock is starting to kick in a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's helping the movie a little bit.
Princess Anna.
You're not thinking as much, and you're just feeling the ticking clock.
I really almost wish that Kristoff had met Hans here. Like, Hans had been the one that had been like, Anna, and he had to give Anna to Hans. You know, like, kinda. That would have been so much more. Oh,
okay,
Kristoff.
Look at all these people. Like, he's actually talking to them, and they should shut the gate in his face.
Yeah. See, this moment would have been, they could have done that same moment of him being shut out if he had to give Anna to Hans, and then he was like, well, she's with Hans, so there's nothing left that I can do. So he walks away instead of them, like, shutting him out, you know. Being the gallant prince.
Like, who are all these people?
And why are they all looking to him?
I know. Are they foreign dignitaries? Well, because Anna put him in charge. He's obviously in charge.
Still, he's not the senior person there.
But Anna put him in charge. That's what I mean. I know.
Yeah.
They needed more world building, and I felt like they had time for it. Like, they could do a lot of it in just little things in the background, and they didn't have to spend a ton of time on it. I don't know.
I like where he's like, oh, but your loves kiss. Like, everybody knows what that is.
And the moment.
The moment. And
switch.
drink.
And all of his expressions change.
I don't know.
I
don't
think
know.
it
They
was a
seem
good twist.
plugs.
Like, it
Yeah.
really kind of dropped you, and you're like, wait.
Wait, what?
What about?
And reflection.
Oh,
There you go.
I didn't see it coming.
Mm-hmm. Why does he take off his glove?
I didn't see it coming the first time either.
I was reading the trivia on this, and I don't know if it's real, but people take off their gloves when they show their true self.
Like here, yeah.
I don't know if that's actually true.
Well, he took off his gloves so he could extinguish the candle.
Yeah. But there he said, after we got married, he said that he was going to eventually kill Elsa. So,
Well, maybe he did mean to do it with a chandelier. It's just very subtle.
Well, he's still mentioning that he wants to bring back the summer. You know, like that's an important goal. So
yeah.
it made sense that he didn't want to kill Elsa right away without making sure that, you know, the summer would come back. But now he's convinced that she can't do it, so she's disposable, and killing her would be the best option.
And Anna's gonna die anyway, so.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're heartless, Hans.
Oh, poor Anna.
See, okay, it would have made much more sense if the stupid part here is that they believe him when he says, but we just had time to say our wedding vows, which wedding vows don't actually mean anything if there aren't other people present, just saying. They're not legally
Even then?
Mm-hmm.
probably, yeah.
Okay.
For just such a reason.
And probably even more with royalty.
Okay.
So, like, I think instead of kiss, you know, that part where he turned and kissed her, I think I don't know how it would affect the movie, but a smarter move on Hans's part would to say something like, "Oh, I won't kiss you unless you marry me," sort of thing, and then like have a whole little marriage ceremony where people are there. But I don't know where it would go from there. But it would be a smarter decision than what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously he couldn't kiss her because it wouldn't actually save her. You know, it would be obvious that he didn't actually love her if he kissed her.
Unless he said...
And she wasn't saved.
Yeah.
But if he got her to fully give control of the kingdom to him. First, before he let her die and showed her his true colors, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That would have been smarter, but it would have been a problem also because then she would be married to him.
They would have to get a divorce. That wouldn't be good in a kid's movie.
Yeah.
It makes Sven a little too intelligent right here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I like if Kristoff had just started talking like he talks with Sven and Sven hadn't got in front of him. You know, Kristoff is the one that says, you know, she's gonna marry somebody else. You're like, it's Kristoff who's thinking that, and if it just come out through his conversations, his pretend conversation, air quote, with Sven, like he was just talking about it, like he has done before, it would have been better instead of Sven like getting in front of him and stopping him and all that.
Yeah, maybe.
So I guess part of what's adding to the ticking time clock, but it's not really clear here, is that Elsa's power is getting more and more intense, and she's so scared and stressed that she's freezing everything even more. You know, it's not just cold outside.
Yeah.
She's actually freezing. She's freezing the buildings, and everything is getting colder, and everyone is in danger.
Got that big that quick.
It's a fairy tale.
And did they have matches then?
Maybe.
This is the scene where you're like, oh, Olaf, because, he's being so, he's being there when he's the only one that can be there for Anna right now when she needs him. And, the line, some people are worth melting for. And, he's the one that introduces the idea of Kristoff.
Well, he's the one who defines love, which is actually very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He defines love as doing something for someone else when there's nothing in it for you.
I like that part. Wait, Kristoff loves me?
You're like,
some people are worth melting for.
So if he had melted here, would that have saved Anna?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I know. Is it just any act of true love? Some random act
So
of true love? Or does it have to be connected to Anna?
If Kristoff had realized that he loved her, but still let her go to Hans, would that have healed her?
He did that. I know.
Well, no, he didn't know he loved her then.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So, like, could that have, should
Kristoff
that have
doesn't
healed
love you
her?
enough to leave you behind. I was like, oh gosh.
Olaf is so, it seems like 1 minute he's so wise and the next is like, and have to spell it out because it's
Like a valiant pundit reindeer
Reindeer
king.
king.
I did like that one. Had to spell it out because it's a kids movie.
This whole sequence is my favorite in the film
Yeah.
because it's actually kind of dark and dangerous.
And they did a good job of showing how weak
But they
Anna
only
is.
show Anna. Like, what about the rest of the people in the castle? Like, did anyone get impaled? Like,
Yeah.
the ending, Hans falls apart as a character at the ending
Yeah.
because, well, it's more like everybody else's reaction to Hans. At this point, Anna's the only person who knows that he's not what he seems. But at the end, you'll see, like, when he gets defeated, everyone's, like, cheering and stuff. And it's like, I thought you all liked him.
I know. Oh man, the ending is so bad. And in this sequence, I love the music here, and then the way they set up where everyone is, or where, like, the distance and everything. That's a cool shot.
Yeah.
The thing is, Kristoff doesn't know that he is
Anna's only hope.
Only hope, yeah. So why is he so desperate?
Well, because he's seen the storm and he doesn't know what's happening to her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he can guess that it's not good.
Yeah. That moment where this is where the musical theme from the beginning kind of comes back in, if I remember correctly. But that moment when Olaf gets blown away is when you're like, that's when you seriously get really concerned for Anna because now she's alone.
Right.
And of course, Kristoff's just going to barely make it in time because of conflict and tension and all that.
This movie does really well at seeming so dangerous without it actually being scary. I mean,
it actually looks really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this action sequence. It's just a shame how it ends.
I know.
It's a really good lead up to a really bad ending.
I don't like right here that they wait so long to show that Sven is alive. You know, when he falls in and then he looks back and then this.
I know, it felt like a tricky moment.
Yeah.
It took away
Like,
from the
you
tension.
knew he was going to be alive.
Yeah.
And they just waited a little too long.
Yeah.
But I like that he just kind of like, okay, now it's gone and then we're back into the story. It didn't take too much out of it, but
that animation on her feet.
and when her voice gets so soft, like you can barely hear it.
And he can hear it.
Okay, and Hans's whole thing, is he still trying to get her to
I think he's still
down?
trying to figure out
I
what.
think he's trying to break her emotionally because he's seen her when she's dangerous. He's trying to take her off guard. by telling her that her sister's dead, it breaks her emotionally, and so she.
But he didn't know that would happen. I mean, like,
he's seen her, almost kill those two guys. He knows that she can be dangerous.
yeah, but she might try and kill him if he tells her that. He didn't know that would stop the ice storm here happening.
I'm not sure why it does. That doesn't seem logical with the progression of her power from before.
Right.
The more emotional she is, the more dangerous.
I don't think it's the more
ice is.
emotional she is. I think it's the more freaked out she is. And she stops being freaked out
I
And
do like the frozen,
and just gets sad.
frozen snowflakes. Like they're just still in the air. That is kind of a cool idea.
I think it would have worked better with the snowstorm stopping if they had really punched that. Elsa cares about everybody else, but the person she cares most about hurting is Anna. And she didn't know that she froze Anna's heart at that point.
The slow-mo animation
At
wasn't
any
the
of this,
greatest right there.
Elsa has not known that she froze Anna's heart.
I do like that little puff of breath.
Yeah.
You're like,
That I thought she was gonna die.
I know. I wanted her to die.
It's a Disney movie.
I wanted her to hug her right here, and then her head goes and
Okay.
then falls
Oh,
off.
that's morbid.
Okay, not only is it a Disney movie, so she can't die, but it's also the point of the story that she doesn't die.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, you all know she's gonna come back. It's like, I just don't understand why Kristoff is so sad, because he's like, he knows a true, an act of true love.
But all of them were thinking True Love's Kiss. I do like that they punched that into your brain.
Except
Yeah.
for Olaf. Olaf said,
But Olaf was talking generally, and you didn't.
He's only ever
apply it.
talking about active true love.
Yeah.
He never talks about a kid.
And why did she have to freeze all the way before she could unfreeze? If she was the one who freed herself.
Also, freezing or unfreezing from the inside out seems like you'd break something.
Mm-hmm.
But, and here is where the movie ends. The good movie ends, and then the bad movie starts. This part
Okay,
right here, all this
part,
dialogue right
the
here.
love part, that is from the fairy tale.
But I mean, just how there's no subtext here.
Yeah. And Olaf has to
thank you,
explain
Olaf.
it. We got it. Thanks, Olaf.
and then she's like,
Okay, the
Love
whole
will thaw.
And then
Love,
she
of
instantly
course.
knows how to fix everything perfectly.
I have such a big problem with that because love is not the love that they talked about that could thaw was not an emotion. It was an action.
yeah.
And Elsa is doing no action. She's having an emotion. And since her powers seem to be attached to her emotions, it's creating an action in her power. And that is what makes it feel really unreal.
I know what can fix it.
Do tell.
Okay, so, kind of the whole theme behind Frozen is that you love will saw a frozen heart, right? So, they just needed to punch it more. And we were watching the behind the scenes, and the director of Frozen was really talking about his idea about fear, about Elsa. That was her problem, was she was so fearful. So you'd have to, and this would go a long way toward expanding Elsa's character too, if you really punched with the audience that she was afraid of people. Mm-hmm. Not just afraid of her powers, but because she was afraid of what her powers could do, she's also afraid of being around people and afraid of people, so that whenever we see people from Elsa's point of view, they're scary, And the only person she really isn't afraid of is Anna. And so here at the end, where she goes, oh, love will thaw, she looks around, she sees all the people frozen, and for the first time, she sees them as something to care about and not to be scared of. And there you have a, what do you call it? An impetus for an emotion? Is that the right term?
Yeah, I guess.
Where
Or just a reason.
a reason where she looks around, she sees all the people, and she doesn't feel fear, and she decides not to feel fear. The reason it feels fake is because it felt like it should be a decision on her part, but she didn't decide anything. As it is,
Mm-hmm. And so suddenly she's changed. She's a changed character from this point in the movie on, albeit short. But, she looks different. She smiles. She talks differently. She walks differently. And
And
you in real life that doesn't happen without some serious, you know, well, repentance, but
I like Sven here.
he's like,
oh, I the new sleigh. But you know, in real life, a change in a person doesn't happen like that. And even though it's a Disney movie, it still doesn't make sense, and it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
wouldn't
does
be
not believable.
It would actually have to be like Elsa just letting go, ha ha ha, of her wrong ideas about needing to hide and needing to fear. And to have her actually repent of that to Anna, I'm sorry I shut you out all those years. I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. That would make me cry. You know, that would get you to Tangled level.
yeah.
You're right, because then that would really... She is choosing to let go of that mindset that is crippling her.
Sven and Olaf being funny together. But yeah.
I guess, yeah.
It needed another draft to go through Elsa's character.
And a new ending.
I don't mind the ending.
I don't mind this ending because it's showing
Right, I mean,
it's
yeah.
showing how
Yeah.
people are not fearing her anymore, and it's setting her free to be
A new way to fix the world. I think.
Yeah.
Fix what she had done.
We're never closing the gates again.
Unless somebody attacks. Please close the gates if someone attacks.
So if those are made of ice, how can she stand on them? How can they support her?
Mathematics. And what? I'm sorry, Elsa's dress still bothers me.
Yeah.
Is it made of ice?
No, it's made of magic. It's just magic.
It's just magic.
It's
but
not like oh, that's right. Because you guys remember in Frozen Fever, she makes a whole bunch of other stuff, or she
Yeah.
like makes a summer dress or whatever, and you're like, I'm confused. How does this work?
Her powers are dressmaking.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys? Is it Demi Lovato who sings the? Credit
Yeah, I'm
song?
pretty sure. I mean, I know she did a version of it.
Yeah. So, that's Frozen. It could have been good.
I know.
This is the sad
Could have been
thing
great,
about it.
actually.
It could have been really great.
Yeah.
They just had to hammer their themes out a little bit more and make sure that the characters were actually, following the themes and portraying the themes.
Yeah.
The middle got all muddled up. It was really good, but it got all muddled up in the themes.
Yeah.
I'm still. I like the idea, but I feel like it was kind of weak for so many characters to have Anna save herself. Like, I liked it in that it was different than the typical damsel in distress kind of a thing, but at the same time, it cut out all of the other characters. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Like,
Yeah.
I wish that there had been a way for the story to be different so that Elsa could save her.
I don't know.
Well, the thing is, if the whole movie before Anna hadn't been willing to sacrifice herself, that would have been the kind of ending that would go along, is that the ending is she sacrifices herself. That would have made you cry, but that's not Anna's character. And so it was completely in her character to put herself in between Hans and Elsa to do that. It wasn't a struggle on her part.
I'm not sure that there needed to be a struggle. It just felt like the rules were not clear. If you could, because
I mean,
if you could save yourself. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why didn't Kristoff's act of true love save her, or Olaf's act of
True love, yeah.
Why? It's yeah.
It felt contrived.
Uh,
So
yeah. It's just like there's a bunch of really great scenes and sequences and like
Songs.
songs and a lot of the characters are really good, but when you put them all together, they just come out as you get kind of a confused look on your face after you finish watching this movie. You're just like, huh? That was it. Like, it's enjoyable to watch, but you're like, it doesn't really make
something's
sense.
wrong. It's Elsa.
Yeah, it's also unfortunate because of the commercial success of Elsa's character, and like, and the song "Let It Go." There is, you can, that song became so super famous with all of these little girls who are watching it, and to me, that's like the weakest part of the story. But they built a lot of the story around that song but didn't finish. So it's like, I would be much happier if that song wasn't in there.
No.
But it's kind of like what defines the commercial success
I know.
of the film.
Did that song get played on the radio? I mean, was it on the radio?
I don't remember.
It was on
I don't think
kids
I
radio.
listened to the radio very much when this
Yeah.
came out.
It was just that it was the first song that they released. It was like the clip from Frozen, like the very first one, and it was, everyone's like, it's Indina Menzel. It was very.
I liked the song. I still like the song. I agree it
Yeah.
doesn't fit in the story very well. I like the song though.
The song works.
I don't like the song enough to build a movie around it.
The song works much better on its own,
Yeah.
or just like
Well, that whole sequence feels like a music video.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think commercial success relies solely on Elsa though. A lot of it is Anna.
And Olaf.
Not as much as Anna, actually. And Anna and Elsa together. There's like books about them,
Yeah.
There's all sorts of
Yeah.
dolls and
But
animals
like
and all that sort of
when
stuff.
but Elsa is by far the cooler character. So like whenever a little girl like is dressed up for Halloween, or I've done face painting for like little
That's
girls'
true.
birthday parties. Do you want to be Elsa or Anna? I want to be Elsa.
That's
And
true.
Snowflake everything, and it's not that
Yeah.
I mind. It's really cool. Like her look is really cool, but I'm sad that the movie made her such an unfulfilling character, but she's the
Yeah.
cool one and the favorite one and the one that makes all the money.
Yeah.
It's like, I would rather be Anna. Because Anna gets, like,
Anna's not as recognizable.
No.
well, yeah. And, yeah.
I think it would have been much better to, instead of trying to make the movie about the two sisters, if they had figured out how to keep them more separate and the movie was just about Anna. Because that's, like, if you imagine it like that, it feels much more like Tangled. Where it's this girl on an adventure.
Well, so there was a movie that came out a year before this in Germany called The Snow Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 3D animated movie. They had a much smaller budget, so the animation's not great. I've seen clips from it, but it followed the fairy tale of the Snow Queen a lot more closely, and it was like that. It was this girl going on an adventure by herself. And it's, from what I've heard, that movie's okay. So as we were saying, Frozen is loosely based off a fairy tale called The Snow Queen, and The Snow Queen is an original fairy tale written in 1845 by the famous Danish author Hans Christian Andersen, who also wrote fairy tales like The Emperor's New Clothes, The Little Mermaid, Thumbelina, and The Ugly Duckling. So it's like a lot of stories that you're very familiar with that he wrote. So it's an original fairy tale, which means it wasn't, unlike a lot of the older fairy tales like Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella. Those are tales that have been around for a long time, and then somebody wrote them down, and they are considered the author. Hans Christian Andersen actually made up his.
Interesting.
So there, he did draw inspiration from a different older story for the Snow Queen titled East of the Sun, West of the Moon, which had a lot of the similar themes to the Snow Queen. Themes of transformation, sacrifice, long journeys, and unfairness. And he chose to twist all those themes up, adding themes of temptation and philosophy and intellect and Christian love and charity. So he was a big fan of major themes, obviously, as he was a fairy tale writer. But some of his biggest themes were about what's called Cupid and Psyche, which is the idea of love versus intellect and reason. Which is very, so the Snow Queen is very much in line with that, where it's about the Snow Queen herself is supposed to be very intellectual and cold and reasoning, which is kind of like the icy part of her character. And then the main character, Gerda, is supposed to be the love that kind of conquers the Snow Queen.
Yeah.
And surprisingly true, one of the main things they kept the same as in Frozen, the Snow Queen is not about a love story, which is what Frozen was supposed to be. Frozen was supposed to be about two sisters rather than a love story.
Mm-hmm.
So Walt Disney was a major fan of the Snow Queen, and he'd wanted to make an animated adaptation of it for a really long time, like for as long as he's been making movies, I think. Before Snow White even. So it's not an easy nut to crack though, because it's a very wandering plot line with many side plots and characters that don't seem to relate to anything else and aren't really even connected to the Snow Queen. And one of the hardest reasons it's hard to make into a film is because the Snow Queen isn't there at the end of the story. She's not at the final confrontation, you know, the climax of the story. She's not there. And so she's just gone, and Gerda comes to her palace and saves her friend, and that's the end. And there's no fighting, there's no action, there's no nothing, it's really hard to make into a movie.
Yeah. And be like super accurate to the fairy tale.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like all of these pieces, they took pieces of it that are still kind of the same to the broad themes of it.
Yeah. But they missed the broad themes of it.
Yeah, well, that's because they had turned Elsa into a main character instead of the villain.
Yeah, well, I think that's fine. I mean, it's fine to draw inspiration from stuff and to do stories and change them up for kids' movies. I don't have a problem with that. My problem's not with the inspiration. It's how disjointed.
Well, yeah, I
everything
know.
is.
I think that they got too far away from what they were inspired from, but they were still trying to hang on to it at the same time. You know, there's all these elements you could tell were there from the beginning, like the castle, and the reindeer is actually a character, Sven. Well, his name's not Sven, but there's a reindeer character in the fairy tale, and, you know, the snowman, and the idea of a young girl sets off to find the castle and the Snow Queen. Like, there's all those elements that are still there, but they became disconnected when they decided to make Elsa not the villain. And then it's still not connected all the way.
Yeah. But the movie is okay with Elsa not being the villain. And
Yeah.
I personally can't quite see how they could turn her into the villain with the way she is now.
Well, they couldn't. They made her into a character.
Yeah, they made her into a character. They just needed to go a little bit further with her in her character development in order to make her...
Snow Queen from the fairy tale is like the White Witch from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like, I think I said that earlier, that I'm pretty sure C.S. Lewis drew a lot of inspiration for the White Witch from...
She's a little bit nicer than the White
the
Witch,
Snow
though.
Queen. Not really.
No, she totally rides up in her sleigh. She talks to the little boy and says, "Come with me and I'll make you my prince." And then he jumps in the sleigh with her and they ride off into the distance. Like, seriously. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, we didn't see that before.
In the credits, they have a
Disclaimer
saying that the views and opinions of Kristoff that all men eat their boogers is not endorsed by Disney. Or
It's solely his own opinion.
Yeah.
I wonder why they had to put that in there. Did they have to,
think
or
that's a
that
joke.
was just a joke?
The credits makers had a laugh by themselves.
Oh, I didn't know there was an end credits.
Oh, yeah. Why did
Oh.
Elsa throw
Her crown
her
away.
crown away?
Well, 'cause she abdicated the throne. She didn't want to go back.
I know, but I was like...
Marshmallow put the crown on.
Oh.
I didn't even know that was there.
But I was like, this time around I noticed that Elsa does her hair the same that her mom did.
Mm-hmm.
The twisty down the one side with the bun in the back. That was her mom's hairstyle, and she had the same little crown thing. So I was like, when Elsa took off her crown and threw it away, I was like, isn't that like a royal like, heirloom and you're just throwing it away? I mean, like, it's not like, it's like, what's she gonna do with it? But you're still like,
Because movie, Lizzie.
it bugged me. It's like, that's the royal crown, don't throw it!
So, Frozen.
Yep.
Frozen.
There you go.
Final thoughts, wrap up.
I'm curious about
Potential.
So there's rumors that they're gonna make a second one.
Oh.
Frozen, but it's gonna have a Hans redemption storyline.
What?
That's rumors.
I don't know about that.
I'd be curious
Okay.
to see that. Oh, I watched this theory video. There's all sorts of fan theories about Frozen. Some of them are absolutely hilarious. Like, one of them is that Elsa and Anna aren't actually sisters. And, you know, there's all sorts of fan theories about how they're related to Rapunzel and Tangled and Tarzan and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But one is that Hans isn't actually the villain. It's the trolls. They have shown that they are totally capable of manipulating minds, and because there's not enough foreshadowing showing that Hans is the bad guy, it's plainly obvious that partway through the movie, they warped his mind so that he was the bad guy. But all along, he was the good guy. And so this is his redemption story on how he reveals he's not actually the bad guy.
It's the troll.
But then it calls into question the, like, quality of Kristoff.
Well, yeah, they
Kristoff's
wanted to
character?
get rid of Hans so that Kristoff could marry Anna.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah.
Also, Rapunzel is in this. In one of the crowd
I
scenes.
always forget to look for her.
Her and
I
her
know she
parents
is.
are in the crowd at the very end.
Oh, at the very end?
Yeah,
I always forget to look for her.
I know.
Yeah. But, like,
Missed potential.
yeah.
I think this is the most successful Disney princess movie ever, though, in terms of
Commercial success?
Yeah.
Is it? Are you sure? Is that? Are you accounting for inflation?
I don't know. I've heard that though.
It would make sense if it was. I mean, it's still very popular.
I know, man.
Yeah. How old is this movie now?
It was
I don't think
20
Moana replaced it.
2013 or 2014 was when it was made. I can't,
So
or
it's-
released. I can't remember.
It's, you know, it's at least 2.5 years old already, and it's still really, really, really popular. For all the people who say that Frozen is better than Tangled,
I'm sorry.
I
On a storytelling line,
Cool
level.
points? They get cool points. Okay, the snow idea is good.
yeah.
Is this an official ranking system?
Cool
The cool points. They rank 5 bajillion in cool points.
Tangled is not as cool, but it's better.
And it makes you cry.
Well, it's because the imagery from Frozen is way more striking from a marketing standpoint, and so all of the branded toys and backpacks and shirts and like everything that Disney made to sell for the kids, because that's where Disney makes a lot of their money, actually, is in the merchandising. It's so much more recognizable and, you know, and clean. Because, like, if you think about Tangled's, like, branding colors and imagery, they're kind of nebulous. Like, the flowers are maybe, but you can tell when something is branded Frozen just because it's blue and it has a snowflake.
On it. Yeah. Yeah, whereas, like, all the Tangled stuff would be, like, yellow,
Purple.
or purple, or kind of
pink.
And pink, and that's girly. But
And there's been plenty of like blonde Disney princesses.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But none with long hair. Really long hair. I suppose Sleeping Beauty had long hair.
Yeah. Well, Mulan did.
Okay,
for
I
a
will
little
say
while.
that Frozen classes over most of the old Disney princess movies as well. Not Beauty and the Beast.
Not Beauty and the Beast.
Nothing classes over Beauty and the Beast.
I think Mulan is a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, I still have issues with Mulan. We're gonna have to do a podcast on Mulan because.
But there's less issues. Less issues than this movie. With the movie. The whole movie.
I'm not sure about that.
Really?
I had issues with Mulan.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say
I do.
I think that it didn't.
It
Like the
doesn't
setup and plot of Mulan is better.
I would
Yes.
say that story-wise, Mulan is more solid.
Mhm.
It suffers because it doesn't have as many cool points.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, no.
if they had redid Mulan like now and give it like an art design revamp, it would probably be really awesome.
That's true. Something that really bugs me about both of these movies is that the music, they're kind of set in a culture, and the
Right.
music doesn't support it.
I
in
know.
Mulan especially is worse, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
definitely
it's an
that.
even more distinct culture.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I wish that's what I didn't like about this movie a lot. Like a lot of the songs are very, like I felt like the most realistic song, not realistic, but the one that fit the world was the ice song at the very beginning. Like that one
Yeah.
felt the most natural for this world.
Yeah, I remember actually when we first watched it and we heard that first number, I was like, oh man, that'd be super awesome if this movie had, stayed within the culture. But then, of course, we'd already heard Let It Go like 1,000 times before that. So I knew that they didn't do that, but I was like, I really liked that first number when we watched it because it was like, culture, I feel culture in the music, and then pop.
Yeah.
Did they use Let It Go in the marketing? Like I can't remember if they had it in all the trailers and everything. And did they release?
It was definitely released before the movie,
Okay.
Yes.
and it was heavily featured in any of the promo materials
Okay.
for when the movie was released.
I remember it being in the trailer, at least one trailer. It was like the background for one of the trailers.
But does anybody know what Scandinavian music sounds like?
Fiddle and accordion and I don't know.
Yeah, see?
Is it?
We don't know. I feel like the opening was like trying to kind of maybe put us in that vein, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
I felt like it did, but then we snapped right out of it with "Do you want to build a snowman?"
no. I mean, the Cutting Ice song did, but the intro music was like the
Hey,
hey
I don't know.
that
Yeah.
part didn't feel what I think of as Scandinavian music, even though I don't
really
know. I mean, it
I
might
think-
be, but if that was the only place they put it in, that was kind of badly done.
If you're gonna talk about Scandinavian soundtracks, I mean, it's not on par with this. Is like How to Train Your Dragon, which is also kind of Scandinavian set. That's a much better
Viking feeling.
Yeah, much better soundtrack. I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't listen to that and go, "Oh, that's Scandinavian." But they had like bagpipes,
Which one?
fiddles, How to Train Your Dragon,
Oh yeah. Well, I was just
flutes,
looking.
and like whistles.
I searched Scandinavian music, and the first thing is Wikipedia for Nordic for
Yeah.
folk music, which is like Norway and Scandinavia and Denmark, and it says that it through Scandinavia it's dulcimer and fiddle a lot,
Yeah.
Dulcimer.
and then
yeah.
harmonica and accordion later
Yeah.
on. And that that would have been so cool
Yeah, would have.
because I love
Yeah, well,
the
like How to Train Your Dragon.
I love most of that, some of that soundtrack.
Yeah.
They
I like
could've
the
easily-
instruments they used, not how they used them.
They could have easily done like more dulcimer stuff in here, and that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Less poppy, more dulcimer. Always a better idea.
Unless you like pop music,
Like
I
the
do.
most Scandinavian thing was Big Summer Blowout guy.
Ooh, big summer blowout.
Well, and all of Kristoff's look.
Yeah,
Kristoff
and
had a
and
very-
the look of the castle and like the throne room,
Yeah,
like there was
the
some,
art design was very
Yeah.
Scandinavian.
Yeah.
but for the characters
Except for
themselves.
Elsa's dress. Sorry, I have problems with her dress.
This has been the Earflaps podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Signing off here. This is Annie.
And Lizzie.
And Rachel.
And Max.
And over here in the corner, we have Josiah doing our sound mixing.
Yo.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, it came out in 2013. It stars Christian Bell, Adele Dazeem, Josh Gad.
You didn't.
Yes, I did. Sorry. Okay,